Hey, it's Nicole at the Pearl Review. How are you? Today I'd like to talk about Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. This book is three things to me. It's sensual, it's subversive, and it's funny. It centers around Emma Bovary, 19th century France. She is this young woman who marries Charles Bovary, and she soon finds out that she doesn't love him. So she goes on a series of affairs, and we follow her through several years of her life. Madame Bovary is sort of like this beautiful bird that's caught in this cage, and she's violently flapping her wings trying to figure out how to get out, and all she does is really hurt herself. This book is really interesting because you have this elegant, romantic, idealistic, passionate, lost person who is set in this incredibly bourgeois, realistic, real life, boring, complacent kind of setting. What I really like about this book is that everyone is an idiot. Everyone is slow, everyone doesn't fully understand themselves and other people. It's full of pompous, mediocre people. And Emma sort of realizes that in some aspects of her life, but she also is, she's vain. She is incredibly materialistic, and she is unraveling. This book is, I thought was going to be like the experience of maybe reading Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Anna Karenina has a similar arc on a very superficial level to Madame Bovary. Both Emma and Anna are these women in at least middle class or upper class society that should have everything, quote unquote, that they should want, and wind up falling to pieces and having affairs. Now, while Leo Tolstoy's work is this masterpiece, and it's very heavy, and I never really see Anna Karenina really as a fool. She is just very lost. And it's this kaleidoscopic work of all these rich characters and debates, that are like laced in. Madame Bovary is more of this, look how stupid the, bourgeois society is. Look at all these idiots kind of, walking around on this stage kind of experience. But on top of it, there is this real tragedy of Emma's life. She is this woman that really can't get out of her cage. This book was a huge scandal when it came out. Actually, Gustave Flaubert and I think the publishers went on trial because they offended public decency and morals. They later were acquitted, but I think it speaks to the sort of outlandishness of the book. Emma also causes a scandal because she really fights against the constricting condition that is marriage for women at the time. She's someone who winds up realizing that she has nowhere to go. She can't divorce. She doesn't love her husband. Women weren't able to, provide for themselves. They had to rely on other people. They were basically chattel. And so you have this character who is brazenly saying no to what she is given. And it seems almost impossible that, her achieving her dreams will ever, be a reality. This book is also interesting because it incorporates things that we'll see later in film. There's this there's this moment where Emma first meets her first like lover, and I'd like to say that it takes her, I think, a few years to actually start having affairs. You know, like she grapples with this, like she is a fleshed out character. She isn't just this, you know, idiot that marries and then, you know, 5 minutes later is, you know, on to the next person. She is at this this festival, this like farm festival, and you hear this this speaker talk about all of these banal platitudes about farming life, and talk about the livestock, and it jumps from that to this joke of a man who is he knows exactly what he's doing to Emma Bovary. He knows that he can woo her and then just discard her when he feels like it. So he is just telling her all this, whispering little nothings in her ear and saying how, you know, wonderful he thinks that she is, and he just met her. And then we hear about these livestock, and it's back and forth and back and forth, and it's this simultaneity that we see in films, and it did spark a certain it did leave its mark, and people were interested in this like sort of groundbreaking technique at the time. This book I really enjoyed, but it is a little bit on the lighter side. It's funny because it's a tragedy, I would say. It's this group of ridiculous characters, but there is this feeling of lightness when reading it, which made me, I think, enjoy the sensual side of this book more. And sensual, I mean, not only in the sense of, you know, obviously this is a romantic book, but I think Flaubert at his best, other than being funny, is when he talks about, you know, a large wedding, or a ball, and he gives you descriptions of everything, of the food, of the clothing, of all of the people, coming in and out of the scene. It's so laden with imagery that I just found it so warm and charming. So this book is charming, it's light, but then there's some really strange and heavy moments that happen within it. Like I said, you know, there's something very sympathetic about Emma because she is this trapped person. And I think it's very, it speaks to kind of the human condition that she tries to fix the situation, but she's so lost that she gets, she messes up her life even further. I think another funny thing about this book is Emma is so restless and so needy and unsatisfied. And right next to her is her husband, who is completely obtuse and has no idea that she's having these extramarital affairs. But right next to her is this person who is happy, and he is in love. And that's everything that she really wants, at her core. She wants to feel free and sated. And there is that real feeling of that in her husband, even though he's very commonplace. And his love for her, I think, far exceeds any of the passions that she has with these other men. His is enduring and it's deep, even though he is a banal person. This book is really interesting, and if you are looking to read a 19th century classic, it's a very enjoyable read. I really recommend it, and if you have read this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know that Emma Bovary is a much loved and picked apart character, so I hope I haven't offended anyone in my take on her. I find her very sympathetic but very ridiculous. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to comment below. I really appreciate it. Bye, guys.